Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com is still my email. It's still in the description below. It is still your purchase and pricing contact. For your questions about the pricing of this or any watch you see on any of our platforms, email me for pricing. I am tmosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing details. Today, we're discussing a watch launched late in 2022 for the 2023 model year from Glashütte Original of Germany. This is the SeaQ Chronograph, part of the Spezialist collection. And although it is a very modern take on the diving chrono, it does include heritage elements that refer to the 1969 Spezialmatic RPTS 200 dive watch historically built by the East German brand. So in stainless steel, it's very modern at 43.2 millimeters in diameter, a beefy 17.4 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, 51.3 millimeters, with a 53.5 millimeter total distance across the wrist when you include the end link to end link measurement. That's the total distance there. The spacing between the lugs is 21 millimeters. Now, when I throw the watch on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, I'm going to zoom out a little bit further than usual. It does fit, and you can see down the barrel that those lugs are inboard of the edge of my wrist. From over the top, you could see just barely fits. And in profile, let's be honest, this is a very thick watch with a sheer side and an overlapping bezel, so it's not going to slide underneath the dress sleeve. Remember, if your wrist is my size, 16 centimeters circumference or larger, you're going to find this wears quite well. Smaller wrist, get a smaller SeaQ. Okay, the bracelet. The first thing you'll notice is it is semi-integrated. It's got an end link that is almost completely flush to the flank of the case. Satin finish, it tapers a little bit down toward the clasp. We have satin finish in profile, satin finish across the top. On the bottom, take note, every single link of the bracelet on both sides is removable, so you're going to get the right fit. You can even see that there's a half-size link in there in case you wind up in between sizes. And then there's a micro-sizing mechanism. You can see a lock and a rack, and when you push the trigger down, which is the logo, you get about 1 centimeter of incremental adjustability in roughly 1 millimeter increments. So there's a lot of ways to fine-tune this fit. Taking a look at the case, I mentioned the Spezialmatic, the RPTS 200 from 1969, and the elements of this watch that reference that watch are the very thin, narrow case band, the minimal beveling, and the very squared-off lug ends. Those are all characteristic of vintage watch design. You can also see that the case is vertically satinated in profile. There's a tiny contrasting polished bevel to add some richness, and then a sort of circular concentric brushing across the lug hoods and case top. We have fastening for the chronograph pushers, and we have a screw-down crown with polish and media blast. The watch is 300 meters water resistant, and what's fascinating about these pushers is that they have an unusual geometric profile, but they're not actually screw downs. You can access them at any time. We have a dramatically cambered and rounded sapphire that's designed to emulate the off-axis distortion of a 1960s bubble plexiglass, and actually does that quite well. The bezel, which is unidirectional, features a sharp knurling for easy grip. It is a 120 click bezel. Easy to line up. You can see it has a scratch-resistant ceramic insert, and you can use this bezel along with the vintage-inspired broad arrow minute hand to time intervals up to 60 minutes. I often find a dive bezel easier to read than a chronograph, and since chronographs typically give you 30 minutes on the minute register, it actually helps to have that bridge between 30 minutes and 1 hour, and that's what you get with this 60-minute bezel. Let's do a quick lume shot here. Take a look at it in the dark. You can see no shortage of lume. One oddity of the design is that we have our constant seconds, our running seconds, in a small second sub-register. Unusual for a diver, not unusual for a chronograph, but you do know in the dark whether your diver is still operating, and this is an ISO 6425 compliant dive watch. Good looking dial, blue metallic sunburst with sunken sub-registers, each of which has an inset concentric pattern. We have a faceted aperture for the double-digit date and a feather and geo's cap. The folks in Glashütte in East Germany make flush-fitting big dates, so both discs are in the same plane. They're not superimposed or overlapping like some less carefully constructed mechanisms. Now you can see there's also a quick set, which is not always the case with Glashütte's Panorama Datum watches, which sometimes feature a pusher adjuster. Here you get that quick set, which is snappy and instantaneous. You also get a stop second or hacking function. We have applique indices as well as Arabic numerals for an upscale look to the dial. and it is a flyback chronograph, so you can reset and restart without first stopping and resetting. The reset trigger resets and restarts instantaneously, ideal for timing events that occur in rapid succession. Now on the reverse side, we have a version of the caliber 37 chronograph. Take a look right here. One of the most unusual features I've ever encountered on a chronograph, a little case back indicator that lets you know whether it is on or off. Unnecessary, but wonderful. I love it. Now, this is a very sophisticated movement in every respect. By the way, notice that they also use a bubble-like sapphire on the reverse of the watch. So automatic winding with a 70-hour power reserve. It has stop seconds. It has a quick set date. It has the ridiculous little on-off indicator. It has the flyback capability. It pivots, as you can see right here. It actually advertises. They tell you how many joules. You can see it is a beefy 47 joules. There's a swan's neck regulator, but that masks the fact that this is fundamentally a 6-position adjusted free-sprung balance, with most of the adjustments done not with the swan's neck, but with the variable inertia blocks in the balance rim itself. 6-position adjustment of a free-sprung balance is outstanding. So this 3723 caliber, precisely adjusted and more shock resistant because of the free-sprung and the 6-position adjustment. 6-position is the gold standard, one more than a chronometer. And of course, free-sprung means that the regulator can't be budged by a shock to the watch. We also have a silicone hairspring to give it anti-magnetic qualities. Adjacent to that, you could see the polished column wheel, making for super crisp actuation of the mechanism. And that is a very traditional way to build a chronograph. And then there is a vertical clutch. And because of the vertical clutch, which has no inherent play, you can start the chronograph with no jump or stagger to the chronograph seconds hand. And if you wish, you can leave it running on a full-time basis because a vertical clutch does not create any additional wear and tear. The finish on the movement is quite attractive. Like JLC, a combination of mechanical and manual. You could also compare it to something like Audemars Piguet. We have stripes, we have snailing on the outside of the bridges. The outside of the bridges has the snailing, the stripes are on the top of the bridges. We have satinated wheels, we have this beautifully hand solarized reduction wheel for the winding system, black polished and fire blued screws. I love to see both of them. Partially skeletonized rotor, you can see black polished screw and crenellated caps to the column wheel, and then chronograph components in steel have been satinated with a black polished swan's neck mechanism. It's a really good looking watch. If you love this watch, reach out to me. I am Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.